Okay, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is about homeschool stuff. And so I thought lots of people want to know what we're doing for homeschool, how I chose curriculum, all the things. So I thought that all of this stuff has been boxed up in a couple of big boxes as we have held on to it. I actually started doing some research in the very beginning and ordered this so a couple of months ago. I've had it for a little while, but thought it would be fun to sit down and do sort of an unboxing video with you and show you what I chose for each girl and for each subject and talk about why we chose that and just talk about all the homeschool stuff. It'll be interesting to talk about it now, and then in about another probably 6 weeks I'll do an update video just to let you know what we like so far, maybe what we don't like so far, how we're doing, and how the process is going. So here we go. I think I'm going to start with science. We'll start with science first. So interestingly enough, probably maybe 3 years ago, we did a curriculum through our Sunday school program in our church from a company called Answers in Genesis. They're the ministry and the organization that built the Ark and the Creation Museum in Kentucky, if you've heard about that. The girls learned a lot from their curriculum just at church on a weekly basis, and our family did. And so I was very interested when I found that they had partnered with a company called MasterBooks and that they do some homeschool curriculum. And so we ordered all of our science stuff from MasterBooks. I'll start with Chloe. So Chloe is going to be in 9th grade, and so she's going to be doing biology from MasterBooks. This comes with a student guide and then a teacher guide. And so she will go through this and do the biology. You can see it's a nice color book. We did not order any of the lab kits that come with the biology. I decided we could watch dissections on YouTube instead. So, but she's gonna be doing 9th grade biology just like she would have at high school. This will be, this is not a video driven curriculum. So she will just have her workbook. I will have the teacher guide and workbook, and we'll kind of work together a little bit every day. All of us will on science. So biology for Chloe. Claire is actually doing a general science for middle schoolers from MasterBooks as well. And it's this general science one, and it's survey of earth and sky. It was interesting because in the beginning, Claire and I had some conversations and she had some thoughts on what she wanted to study. So she helped me to pick this one. This particular science that we're doing has 4 units to it. So it has a mineral unit, and this is a nice hardback book that she'll have, a textbook with color pictures. So we have minerals. We have a weather book. I think this is actually the first unit. It's just a general weather. There's an astronomy book, and then an ocean book. So she will do this in 4 different units. And of course, those are her textbooks, and then I have the guides all together in this one. One thing that I'm thinking about, and any of you moms out there that are pro homeschoolers may want to give me some tips in the comments. I have debated going and getting these the teacher guides spiral bound so that I can then flip them over and lay them flat. All of the worksheets are in here, and one thing I want to be good and use my resources wisely is, like, for example, with Claire's, eventually Caitlin and Caroline will do this as well. You know, Caitlin would do this a couple years behind Claire. So my thought is, if I can spiral bound them, keep them in good shape, make copies of the worksheets, then I can use the same curriculum again and only have to order, well, in this case, I wouldn't even have to order the new stuff. I could just use it again for Caitlin. So I'll let you know how that turns out. Now the little 2 girls are doing Heaven and Earth. They have a, MasterBooks has a section for elementary school kids that's God's design, and it has several different topics. And the one we picked is Heaven and Earth. And I actually decided that they would do this together. So they each have a book. And so we're going to do that. They're going to do that together. A lot of their curriculum you'll see in a couple of different subjects. Actually, they're going to share 2 subjects this year. And I think it'll make it more fun to be able to do it together. So they have these workbooks, our weather and water, our universe, and our planet Earth. And so we'll go through that together. They're going to be in 3rd and 5th grade. And then, of course, here is the teacher book for this as well. I just started looking at this, and I think it's going to be interesting. I think I'll need to go through and make a supply list, because one of the things I think the girls will really like about this is there are little projects with each week. And so I'm going to need specific supplies. And so I think I will probably go through maybe and work on the first month's worth of stuff, make a supply list to have on hand, maybe in a little tub. So there is the little girl's science. So I think that covers everybody's science. Okay, I chose Saxon math for the curriculum. I will say that all 4 of our girls are very math wired and math thinkers, and math comes easy to them, which is awesome. And because of that, they have also been in public school in Georgia and learned Common Core curriculum. And so I did not want to undo or reteach anything they already knew, because they're all good at it. So I wanted that whatever curriculum I chose to be able to come right alongside what they already knew and the way they were used to learning. So I chose the Saxon math. So Caitlin and Caroline, like I said, they'll be 3rd grade and 5th grade. Caroline and Caitlin, 3rd grade and 5th grade. Saxon had a couple of, they're now calling them their intermediate courses. And they're the newer print that have been classroom material that they've now made for homeschool. And so they will do that. Both of the little girls will do that. This is called Intermediate 3. So this is Caroline's. And then Caitlin's is called Intermediate 5. And this is what her textbook looks like. And these are like what we had in school. Big, heavy, thick textbooks. But from what I understand, these all work on a spiral. They link together, the Saxon does, and so it is a good component of their learning. Now, the Saxon all came with several different, so each set has a power-up workbook. I think this is just some worksheets. It also has this solutions manual. So this will be my help. And then it also has the answer forms, the test key, the cumulative tests, and the testing booklet. So that came with each of theirs. So that is for the little 2 girls. Yeah, there's for Caroline's. Yeah, okay. So then Claire would have been doing, so Claire was set to do, she was in advanced math in middle school, so she was on track to do advanced math, advanced middle school math in 6th grade and 7th grade, which would have put her doing pre-algebra and then algebra 1 in the 8th grade. So I ordered for her the algebra half, which is their pre-algebra course, which I am hoping was going to be right for her. Chloe and Claire are probably going to have to help a little bit as we go along and figure this out as far as what levels, what things they hadn't done, had done. They will be a big help in kind of guiding their learning with the math. So hers is the same way, textbook, and then hers came with the solutions manual. Again, that's my helper. And then this is her homeschool packet, her testing and stuff. Yeah, this has got her test forms. Let me open this. This has got her test forms, and then this must be her testing booklet. Yes, looks like it. So, now Chloe had done algebra 1 in the 8th grade, just like Claire would have done. So Chloe was all set to do geometry in the 9th grade. So here is her geometry textbook. That's what she was going to be taking this year in 9th grade. So this is her big geometry textbook. Oh my goodness. And then the same with her, the solutions manual, the testing book. Now, when I first ordered the math, I ordered these dive DVDs for the older two girls. This was the algebra half and then the geometry. So I ordered these with the intent of them watching their lessons on these DVDs, and then I would just do lessons with the younger two girls. And this may still happen. We still may use these. After I ordered all of this, I also found out about a YouTube channel and a subscription service called Nicole the Math Lady. I have a good friend from Cordial from Chick-fil-A that I work with there, and she was wonderful and shared that information with me one day. And so I have also subscribed to Nicole the Math Lady for a family subscription, and she does daily lessons on all the Saxon math curriculum. And so even the younger girls can log in every day, watch a lesson, a video lesson, and then do their assignments. And so we are probably going to start with her, and then the big two girls will decide, the older two girls will decide what, I think this is a gentleman that does, that has a PhD, and he does the lessons, so the girls can kind of decide. They may end up doing some of both. So that is math. Okay, so next up is history and ELA, language arts, English. I think they call it, every company or place calls it something a little bit different. So let me show you as far as Chloe and Claire, so the older two girls. I decided on two different curriculums for history and language arts for the girls. These decisions, I had kind of made the math and science decisions, but it was interesting because a couple of my best friends are teachers, and I pulled them in on these decisions. And so over a couple months ago, they sat at the house one day, and one of them in particular, and she looked through, I had everything pulled up on the websites with all the tabs, and she looked down through, she teaches elementary school, and looked down through everything to help me decide. So it was quite an overwhelming decision because there's so much out there. So for Chloe and Claire, for the older girls, we decided to do switched on Schoolhouse for their history and their language arts. So interesting thing about switched on Schoolhouse is it comes as a jump drive. So I have 4 of these little boxes. I haven't even opened these little boxes yet. And this one that I'm opening is 9th grade history. So all of Chloe's history is right here. So let's see what it looks like. There we go. It comes on that little jump drive. So this will be her history. And she will put this in her Chromebook that we got them. She'll stick that in there and do history. The thing I liked about the switched on Schoolhouse model was that for the older girls who are used to doing some things online, this would be their lessons. It would also grade their work and then print out a report at the end of the year. And so it did a lot of the work for me. So that was very enticing. So I liked the way they did that. So I ordered 9th grade history, language arts, 7th grade history, language arts. So each of them have a little box. So that'll be how Chloe and Claire do history and language arts. For the most part, that will put them kind of with their computers and self-pacing themselves in those 2 subjects. So for the younger two, for history and language arts, one of the things, so our plan is to spend the fall in New England, visiting missionaries and church planners all through New England, the New England states. And so one of the things that I decided was that I wanted us to do history, to do American history. If we were going to be in places like Washington, D.C., Boston, Philadelphia, all of those places, I wanted us to be doing American history. So the younger 2 girls will do, I chose for them SonLight for their history and language arts. This is the binder they sent me to put all of the teacher stuff in there. Can y'all see how thick that is? This is very intimidating. It's still empty. But we will do a 2-year stint through American history. And that is what, this is my teacher guide stuff on that. So it'll be a 2-year stint. This is year 1 of 2, Introduction to American History. And so I'm excited about that. One of the things that SonLight does in their curriculum is that they bleed over with their reading material between their history and their language arts, so that the readers and things that you have, the chapter books, all work together and kind of create a theme. So I did order, so for language arts, Caroline and Caitlin will be doing their couple different levels. There were a couple of things that I really wanted to keep separate, or that my good friends advised me to keep separate on this, to make sure that Caroline didn't miss out on some of the things Caitlin had already learned. So this will be Caroline's language arts and Caitlin's some of those concepts. But the way that SonLight works is that you can just order the whole entire unit, and so it's everything you need. So I'm just going to show y'all some of this stuff. When I first opened the box, it was so overwhelming because of everything that came in it. There are books after books after books, all about the different. This is a prayer guide. These are all books that we're going to read together. An American history book, all kinds of different. I'm telling y'all, the books just keep coming. I'll confess and say, I don't remember the last time I've read this many books. So this is going to be interesting for all of us, because they're still coming. Books. They have things. These are all kinds of Pocahontas, some of the different people in history books. One of the interesting things too that was included that I was going to show y'all that I'm excited about. These are still more books. Here's a book of poetry. But here at the bottom are a couple of interesting. So this is a timeline book that I think is going to be interesting. Let me show you what it looks like on the inside. See, it's all the different, and then there is this, this goes with it, and it is stickers that we can put, I believe they're stickers, maybe you have to cut them, but the stickers that we can put on the timeline, and I think that'll be a neat visual way to learn as we study all of these historical figures. More American history books, an American history encyclopedia, which will be fun. And then at the very bottom is one thing I was going to show you. This is a markable map. You can see it's got the United States on one side. This is huge, you're not going to be able to see it. And then a world map on the other side. Folds up nicely and has the markers. But I think that'll be interesting, especially given that we are going to be traveling, to be able to use that map to coincide with some of our travels. Will be a neat component. We are finally, here's a Bible that came with it. This is the kind of thing that I'm learning as I go, that probably there are some ways that I can order some of the components separately to save a little money. We obviously had several kids' Bibles at home, so I wouldn't have needed this. But that's what I'm learning. That's what I'm figuring out. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see in about, probably in about 6 weeks, what we think. We are probably going to start, depending on how things go over the next couple of weeks with getting the RV and what we hear from them. My original thought was to start school mid-August. So I'll keep you posted as to whether that works out or not and when we actually get started. What I don't want to happen is to start and the routine get interrupted. I want us to work. We like routines, and so I want us to work hard to create routines once we get going. So I'll keep you posted, and then we'll do another review in a few weeks.